You meet someone and they feel magnetic. Something about them pulls you in. Maybe it is the intensity. Maybe it is the drama. Maybe it is the way they make you feel like you are the only person in the world who really understands them. And at first it feels special. It feels like connection. It feels like finally someone sees you the way you have always wanted to be seen. But then something shifts. Slowly at first. So slowly you do not even notice it happening. You start to feel responsible for their emotions. You start to walk on eggshells. You start to doubt yourself, to question your perceptions, to wonder if you are the problem. You find yourself exhausted all the time, but you cannot quite explain why. You notice that your other relationships are suffering, that you are not sleeping well, that you are constantly anxious about saying or doing the wrong thing, that you have started to lose pieces of yourself without knowing exactly when or how it happened. And when you try to step back, when you try to create some distance, they pull you back in. They need you. They are in crisis. They will fall apart without you, and you believe them, because by now, you have been convinced that you are essential to their survival. That leaving would make you a bad person. That staying, no matter how much it costs you, is the right thing to do. But here is what nobody tells you. Some people are not just struggling. Some people have personality structures that are fundamentally oriented toward destruction. Not because they are evil, not because they chose to be this way, but because their psyche developed in ways that make them incapable of healthy connection. And these people are contagious. Their pathology does not stay contained. It spreads, it infects. It pulls you into patterns that will destroy you if you let them. Sigmund Freud spent his career studying human psychology, and one of his most disturbing discoveries was this. There are certain personality types that are not just self-destructive, they are contagiously destructive. They have an unconscious need to pull others into their pathology, to recreate their internal chaos in the external world, to make you feel what they feel so they do not have to feel it alone. And the most dangerous part, they do not do this consciously. They do not wake up in the morning and decide to destroy you. They are acting out patterns that were carved into their psyche long before they met you. Patterns that feel like survival to them, but function as poison to everyone around them. And if you cannot recognize these patterns, if you cannot see them clearly and protect yourself from them, you will get pulled in. You will become part of their psychological drama. You will lose yourself trying to save someone who cannot be saved by you, because the work they need to do, that work is internal. That work is theirs, and no amount of your love, your patience, your sacrifice will do it for them. So today we are going to explore the 6 personality types that Freud understood to be not just struggling, but structurally dangerous. Not to judge them, not to vilify them, but to help you see clearly, to help you recognize the patterns before you are too entangled to escape. To help you understand that protecting yourself from contagious pathology is not cruelty. It is survival. The first type Freud would warn you about is what he called the narcissistic personality. And before you think this is just about people who love themselves too much, let me clarify. Freud understood narcissism as a fundamental failure in psychological development. It is what happens when someone never successfully transitions from seeing themselves as the center of the universe to recognizing that other people are real, separate beings with their own inner lives. A true narcissist does not actually love themselves. They are empty. They have no stable sense of self. So they construct a false self, a grandiose image that they need constant external validation to maintain. And here is why this is contagious. The narcissist needs you to play a role in their drama. They need you to reflect back the grandiose image they have created. They need you to be an extension of them, not a separate person with your own needs and feelings. And at first, this can feel incredible. They idealize you. They make you feel special, chosen, perfect. But the moment you fail to maintain that reflection, the moment you show any sign of being a real person with flaws and needs and boundaries, they turn on you. They devalue you. They discard you. And this process, this idealization followed by devaluation, it is not about you. It was never about you. You are not a person to them. You are a function. And when you stop functioning the way they need you to function, you become worthless in their eyes. What makes this contagious is that being in relationship with a narcissist slowly erodes your sense of reality. You start to doubt your own perceptions. You start to believe that your needs are unreasonable. You start to accept treatment that you would never accept from anyone else because they have convinced you that you are the problem. And by the time you realize what has happened, you have lost so much of yourself that you do not even know how to get out. The second type is the borderline personality. And this one is particularly painful because these individuals are genuinely suffering. Freud would understand the borderline personality as someone whose ego never developed stable boundaries. They do not have a clear sense of where they end and you begin. They experience abandonment as a kind of death. They swing between extremes because they have no internal regulator, no way to modulate their emotional experience. And here is why this is contagious. The borderline personality will make you responsible for their emotional stability. They will create crises that only you can solve. They will threaten suicide if you try to leave. They will be intensely loving one moment and intensely hateful the next, and you will never know which version you are going to get. What makes this so destructive is that you cannot win. If you stay close, they consume you. If you create distance, they fall apart and make you feel like you killed them. You become trapped in a dynamic where your only choices are self-sacrifice or guilt. And most people choose self-sacrifice. They stay. They try harder. They convince themselves that if they just love this person enough, if they just stay consistent enough, the person will stabilize. But they will not. Because the instability is not situational. It is structural. It is built into how their psyche operates. And no amount of external stability will create internal stability for them. That is work they have to do. And most of them never do it because doing it would require them to feel the very feelings they have spent their entire lives avoiding. If you are starting to recognize patterns you have experienced, if you are seeing yourself in these dynamics, take a moment and like this video, not just as engagement, but as acknowledgement, as a marker that you are starting to see clearly what you could not see before. Let me pause here for a moment because I need to ask you something that matters. Have you ever felt like you are living two lives at once? The one everyone sees, where you smile and function and pretend everything is fine, and the one inside your head, where you are struggling, confused, doubting every choice you make. That split, that exhausting performance of being okay when you are not, it is something Freud understood deeply. And I want you to know something. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are human. And what you are feeling right now, this exact struggle you are carrying, someone else watching this video is feeling it too. They are sitting there thinking they are the only one, just like you might be thinking right now. So I am going to ask you to do something that might feel vulnerable, but it is important. Go down to the comments right now and type this exact phrase, I feel this. Just those 3 words, I feel this. You do not need to explain. You do not need to write your whole story. Just let those words be your voice today, because when you do that, something powerful happens. The person scrolling through these comments, the one who feels completely alone in their pain, they're going to see your comment. And for the first time in maybe days, weeks, or months, they are going to realize they are not alone either. Your 3 words might be the thing that helps them breathe a little easier tonight. This is not just about engagement. This is about connection. This is about breaking the silence that keeps us isolated in our suffering. Freud built his entire life's work on one simple truth. We heal when we speak what has been hidden. So speak it now. Go to the comments, type I feel this, and know that by doing so, you are not just helping yourself. You are helping every single person who needs to know that what they feel is real, is valid, and is shared. Do it now. I will wait. The 3rd type is what Freud called the masochistic personality, though today we might call this the victim personality. These are people whose identity is organized around suffering. They do not just experience pain. They need pain. They seek it out. They create it. And then they use it as proof of their worthiness, their martyrdom, their moral superiority. Freud understood this as a defense mechanism gone wrong. The masochistic personality learned early that suffering was the only way to get attention, to feel valuable, to have power. So they unconsciously arrange their lives to maximize suffering. They choose partners who will hurt them. They sabotage opportunities that might bring joy. They reject help and then complain that nobody helps them. And here is why this is contagious. When you try to help someone with a masochistic personality structure, you become part of their drama. If you succeed in helping them, they resent you for taking away their suffering. If you fail to help them, they use your failure as evidence that they are beyond help, that the world is cruel, that they are doomed. You cannot win. You can only play your assigned role in their narrative of victimhood. And what makes this truly destructive is that they will drain you. They will take everything you give, and it will never be enough, because enough would mean they would have to give up their suffering. And their suffering is their identity. Without it, they do not know who they are. So they hold on to it, and they hold on to you. And they slowly pull you into a world where nothing good is possible, where every effort is futile, where hope itself becomes something to resist. The 4th type is the passive-aggressive personality. And this one is insidious because it hides behind niceness. These are people who never express anger directly. They smile while sabotaging you. They agree while undermining you. They say yes and do no. Freud would understand this as someone whose aggression has been so completely repressed that it can only emerge sideways, through indirect channels. The passive-aggressive personality learned that expressing anger directly was dangerous. So they learned to express it in ways that are deniable, that give them plausible deniability, that let them maintain the appearance of being good while acting out hostility. And here is why this is contagious. You can never address the real issue because they will never admit what they are doing. If you confront them, they act hurt and confused. They make you feel crazy for suggesting that they are angry when they seem so calm. They gaslight you into doubting your own perceptions. And over time, you start to absorb their unexpressed anger. You start to feel angry all the time, but you cannot figure out why. You become the one who looks unreasonable, who seems to be overreacting, who cannot just let things go. Meanwhile, they maintain their position as the reasonable one, the victim of your aggression, the long-suffering partner who just wants peace. What makes this so destructive is that it inverts reality. It makes you the problem when they are the one acting out hostility. And unless you can see the pattern clearly, unless you can recognize passive aggression for what it is, you will end up carrying their shadow while they maintain their false innocence. The fifth type is what Freud would recognize as the paranoid personality. These are people who see threat everywhere, who interpret neutral actions as attacks, who believe that everyone is out to get them. And again, this is not just a perception problem. This is a structural issue in how their psyche processes information. The paranoid personality cannot trust because their early experiences taught them that trust equals danger. So they developed a hypervigilant defensive system that scans constantly for threat. The problem? When you are looking for threat everywhere, you find it everywhere. You misinterpret, you project, you create the very rejection you are trying to avoid. And here is why this is contagious. When you are in relationship with a paranoid personality, you become the target of their suspicion. No matter how trustworthy you are, no matter how consistent, no matter how transparent, they will find evidence of your betrayal. They will read your texts looking for hidden meanings. They will interrogate you about your whereabouts. They will accuse you of things you did not do and then use your defensiveness as proof of guilt. And over time, this changes you. You start to monitor yourself constantly. You start to censor your thoughts and feelings. You start to live in a state of perpetual anxiety about being misunderstood or accused. You become smaller and smaller, trying to make yourself safe, trying to prove your innocence. But you can never prove it enough. Because their paranoia is not about you. It is about their internal world. And no amount of external proof will change that internal conviction that they are under threat. You already know this, but we're not ready to understand ourselves alone. The human mind is vast, complex, and often frightening to explore without guidance. If this content is helping you see yourself more clearly, if these insights about Freud's work are bringing light to parts of yourself you've kept hidden, then consider subscribing to this channel. This is not just another psychology channel. This is a space where we explore the depths of human nature together, where we take the most profound concepts from psychoanalysis and make them accessible, practical, and deeply personal. Every video here is designed to help you understand not just theory, but yourself, your patterns, your fears, your desires, the invisible forces that have been shaping your choices without your awareness. When you subscribe, you are making a commitment to yourself. You are saying that you are ready to look deeper, to understand more, to stop running from the truth of who you are. And I promise you this, I will be here every week, bringing you insights that matter, explanations that actually make sense, and perspectives that can genuinely change how you see yourself and the world around you. This journey of self-understanding is not easy. Freud knew this. He spent his entire life mapping the human psyche precisely because he understood how lost we can feel inside our own minds. But you do not have to walk this path alone. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Become part of a community of people who have decided that understanding themselves is worth the discomfort, worth the effort, worth the time. Because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. And that relationship deserves your attention, your curiosity, and your courage. So subscribe now, and let's continue this exploration together. Your future self will thank you for taking this step today. The sixth and final type is what Freud understood as the dependent personality. These are people who have never developed a functioning sense of self. They exist only in relation to others. They cannot make decisions. They cannot tolerate being alone. They cannot function without someone to lean on, to direct them, to take responsibility for their life. And before you dismiss this as just insecurity, understand that Freud saw this as a fundamental failure in ego development. The dependent personality never completed the psychological separation that is necessary to become an individual. They are still psychologically merged with a parental figure, and they transfer that merge onto romantic partners, friends, anyone who will take on the role of caretaker. And here is why this is contagious. The dependent personality makes you responsible for their entire life. They cannot decide what to eat without asking you. They cannot handle basic tasks without your help. They fall apart when you are not available. And at first, this might feel good. It might make you feel needed, important, powerful. But over time, it becomes suffocating. You realize that you are not in a relationship with an equal. You are in a relationship with a child who will never grow up. And if you try to push them toward independence, they resist. They become helpless. They make you feel cruel for expecting them to function like an adult. What makes this destructive is that it prevents both people from growing. The dependent person never develops because they have outsourced their ego to you, and you never develop because all your energy is going toward managing their life instead of living your own. You become trapped in a dynamic where separation feels impossible because they have made themselves so fragile that leaving would feel like murder. Now, here is what you need to understand about all 6 of these types. They are not doing this to you on purpose. They are not sitting around planning how to destroy your life. They are acting out unconscious patterns that were formed long before they met you. Patterns that developed as adaptations to early trauma, to emotional neglect, to environments that were unsafe or unpredictable or emotionally barren. Freud would tell you that these personality structures are defenses. They are ways the psyche learned to survive. The problem is that what helps you survive childhood often destroys you in adulthood, and it definitely destroys your relationships, because these patterns are rigid. They are repetitive. They do not adapt to new circumstances or new people. They just keep playing out the same drama over and over, pulling everyone around them into assigned roles in a script that was written decades ago. And this is why Freud would say these types are contagious. Because unless you understand the pattern, unless you can see it clearly and protect yourself from it, you get pulled in. You start playing your role. You become the rescuer, the villain, the abandoner, whatever role their psyche needs you to play. And once you are in that role, it is incredibly hard to get out. Because leaving means facing the guilt, the fear, the sense that you are failing someone who needs you. But here is the truth. You cannot save them. You cannot heal them. You cannot love them into wholeness. That is not how psychology works. Freud understood that real change requires the person to become conscious of their patterns, to take responsibility for them, and to do the hard work of restructuring their psyche. And most people never do that work. Most people spend their entire lives acting out the same patterns, destroying relationship after relationship, and never once asking why. They blame others. They blame circumstances. They blame bad luck. But they never look inward. They never face the truth that the problem is not what keeps happening to them. The problem is what keeps happening inside them. So what do you do if you recognize yourself in relationship with one of these types? Freud would tell you to get out. Not because these people are bad, not because they do not deserve love, but because you cannot help them by sacrificing yourself. You cannot fix someone else's psychological structure by destroying your own. And staying in relationship with someone whose pathology is contagious will make you sick. It will infect your sense of reality, your sense of self, your capacity for healthy functioning. You will start to doubt yourself, to lose your boundaries, to accept treatment that is destroying you. And the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before you met them. So leaving is not cruelty. Leaving is self-preservation. Leaving is recognizing that you cannot save someone who does not want to be saved, that you cannot heal someone who is not doing their own work, that your presence is not helping them, it is enabling them. It is allowing them to avoid the very pain that might finally motivate them to change. Here is what I want you to sit with as we close. You are not responsible for fixing broken people. You are not required to sacrifice yourself to prove your love. You are not selfish for protecting yourself from patterns that would destroy you. Freud understood that healthy relationships require 2 people who have done enough of their own psychological work to show up as individuals, not as walking wounds looking for someone to carry their pain. And if you are in relationship with someone who has one of these personality structures, someone whose pathology is pulling you under, you have a choice. You can stay and slowly lose yourself, or you can leave and give yourself the chance to heal, to recover, To remember who you are when you are not trying to save someone else. That choice is yours, but make it consciously. Make it knowing what you are choosing. Make it understanding that love is not enough, that good intentions are not enough, that some patterns cannot be loved away. They can only be worked through. And that work is theirs, not yours. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this, someone who is losing themselves trying to save someone else, someone who needs permission to protect themselves from contagious pathology. And tell them, you are not abandoning them by leaving. You are choosing yourself, and that is not selfish. That is survival. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to see these patterns clearly. Thank you for valuing yourself enough to recognize when something is destroying you. You deserve relationships that nourish you, not relationships that consume you. And recognizing that is not cruelty. That is wisdom.